You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Well, as you can tell, I'm not Kyle. I don't know who's doing the scheduling for the Experience, but he's already had his day of the year off. So I don't know why he's not here. You know, I give the worst reviews out of the three of us because I'm just like I like the art and I like this and I like that because I'm so spoiler filled. I don't actually give good reviews. But lucky for us, Dan's here. We'll see if he can do any better. Stick around, folks. This is in stores this week. All right. Let's see how we're going to do tonight, folks. Welcome. This is in stores this week. We got about 12 books we're going to talk about tonight. And let me go ahead and bring on the guy everybody actually came to see in just a second here. Boom.
Oh, man.
I want to catch
Dan. Kyle's not here again? Jesus. I don't have enough alcohol for this. I really don't. Oh, man.
I'm sitting here. Let me wait till Dan gets done drinking. And he's like, all right, man, come on. I was, okay.
That was part of the bit. You know?
Oh, man.
How
you doing there, boss?
I'm all right. How about you?
Ready to do this, man. Ready to do this. Favorite night of the week for me.
All right, we're going to do the speed of it. We got 12 books. We just say good, bad, good, ugly. Oh, my God. Okay, we're done. We got to go. See ya.
think we got to make it last a little bit longer than that.
Hey, if Kyle's not going to bother to show up, we can do it how we want.
I'm telling you. I don't know who decided he gets another day off because he's already had one.
Yeah. Yeah, you know. And no more of these mental illness holidays because we know he's crazy, so that's not going to work.
Well, all right. Oh, let's get started with this. I did these in a particular order. That way you won't have to hear me flipping through my notes.
All right.
Let's get started with Alice Ever After, number 4 from Boom Studios.
This is the most depressing book I've ever read.
My goodness. It's almost as if somebody was asked, hey, can you make the most depressing Alice in Wonderland story you can think of? And they're like, here you go. Job done.
Take all the fun and whimsy out of Alice.
Like, just the sheer hopelessness of her situation. If this wasn't so well written, I'd stop reading it because it makes me angry. And I'm talking the first couple of betrayals in Spartacus angry when I read this. But it is, for me, it's so well written. I can't. But, there's just,
Hang on a second. First couple of betrayals in Spartacus. Are we talking the Kirk Douglas movie or the TV series?
Stars. The Stars version. I watched all 3 of those.
So did I, but come on.
They made me mad. But, there is just a little tiny sliver of hope that I got by the end of this book. It's when her younger sister meets somebody at the gate.
Yes.
But,
yes,
what happened with her friend and just the creepy feeling I get between her older, I don't know if it's her older sister or the middle sister, and her father. I just get this weird, like, these are not very good people vibe.
No.
And, I just don't see the, like, I think this arc has one more book, I think. I don't even know. but I just don't see the situation changing.
Yeah. It's
so bleak.
Yeah, it's great art, but man, it is a depressing book.
Yeah, and this was the first book I read.
Oh, what a horrible way to start.
Yeah.
I started with The Rocketeer. That was much better.
I probably should have. But, if you want a good story, if you feel like crying that day and you can't find another reason to, go ahead and pick this one up.
If you need a reason to cry and didn't bother turning on the news.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah. By the way, please hit the like and subscribe buttons just in case you like us without Kyle. Now's the time to let us know. If we get more likes and more views, we know that you guys are, you like the Black Shirt Brigade here rather than having Kyle. So just let us know.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's go on to something that not as bleak, and that would be Armorclad's number 5 from Valiant.
Yeah, this one wraps up the series, but doesn't, because it leaves us with a part like Armorclads will return. It's like, well, good, because you left this huge cliffhanger. Well, not really a cliffhanger, but I've really liked this series. The first one was like, okay, kind of feel like we've done this trip before, but enough has happened, enough unique things that I'm like, okay. And then at the very end, even though we were talking about this last time, how does this tie into the Valiant universe? Surprise!
Yeah.
It ties into the Valiant universe at the end.
Yeah.
So, yep. By the way, hello, Jeff, Alan, and Sean. Welcome this evening. Remember, hit the like button if you like this without Kyle.
Yes.
So.
Man, I thought it had great action in it. I thought, once again, the art was just on point with me.
Yeah.
And while I have my thoughts on the weapon, I still don't know what the weapon is.
Right.
I did, though. I finally got my answer that I've been asking since the first issue. Like you said, does this tie into the Valiant universe? Was this just like, was this it? Or is there going to be more? That got answered.
Yep.
Man, it's a solid Valiant book. Like, Valiant hardly ever disappoints.
Yep. Yeah, I like this a lot, and it was enjoyable, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next. But they've got a lot of really good titles coming up with the Shadow War, with the new Bloodshot. I mean, there's some good looking books, and we still have Archer and Armstrong. Yeah. So I like the fact that they do 5 or 6 issues. It's like, okay, we're gonna take a break from that now. Here's something else. We're gonna come back to that, but for now, we're gonna go over here.
Yeah. Valiant's really good about changing up the teams. So,
yeah, without trying to get every penny out of your pocketbook.
Yeah. Now, gonna move on to a book that. Oh well, here we go. Bell, Return of Scylla from Zenoscope.
Yep. Can you say filler issue?
Man, there's just. It's okay. It is, but again, I don't need all the monologuing. Like, there's so much inner thought in the last 2 titles.
Yep.
I've read. I'm just expecting it now from these grim hero books, like when they take Bell and Robin and all of them, like, and Helsing. Van Helsing was the one we read last time.
Yeah.
It's the same complaints that I always have. You can interchange the characters with this story, and it'd be the same. I'm a fan of Zenoscope, but it's the fairy tale characters, with the exception of Cinderella Serial Killer, because I really enjoy her books. I don't know why they can get that character right, and why that book is a more enjoyable read. But for me, the rest of these are just all just cookie cutter.
Yeah.
I'm not excited
Well,
for it.
yeah. Well, I mean, the way they do books is kind of interesting because they plot them kind of up at the corporate level, and then they pass it down to writers, the plot, and then they write the story. So it's all controlled. But the thing is that they're doing this issue by issue one shots, but this completely felt like a filler issue. And it's like, well, why are you doing a filler issue on one shots? Just do the next story. But yeah, this didn't really move the story forward. It was a sub trip that I'm not sure why we took, you know? Like I said, if you're doing weekly or monthly books, that makes sense. But if you're doing new one shots each time, it's like, okay, why are we dealing with Scylla? You know, you're not moving your main story of her going to Tartarus to rescue her mom forward. You're just doing this little side trip, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
All right, now on to the book that I'm not gonna, dump on as hard as or at all because I have really enjoyed this, and that is Count Crawley, Amateur Midnight Monster Hunter, number 3 from Dark Horse.
And if you didn't see the news today, they've just announced that Count Crawley, Amateur Midnight Monster Hunter, is going to team up with Steve Niles' character of Cal McDonald, who is one of... I'm good friends with Steve. He and I have co-written a bunch of stuff. What got my attention was his Cal McDonald books, which were his novels. They're combining, and then he's done his comics too. Those two are going to team up for a story soon. That was Dark Horse's big announcement. Oh, wow. So Count Crawley and Cal McDonald are teaming up for a series coming up. That, to me, is awesome.
Well, if Dan's excited, it's got to be good.
Yeah, Cal McDonald was my inspiration for doing my book series of Lucius Fogg. It's just, I love when Steve does the Cal McDonald stuff. So for him to combine with David Desmalchian, that's awesome. What Nick says, hit that like and thumbs up. So that was the big new announcement from Dark Horse today. This is a great series. It's a lot of fun. It takes that the idea of and other people have done it too. There's been other books about late night show hosts getting involved in actual monster hunting. There was the Fright Night movie series. Steve Niles did it in Alistair Arcane. There's been a few of them. This one is really good. If you like that type of thing, you're going to love this. The art is good down the line. What did you think, Jay?
I've enjoyed each issue of this so far. I hope that if issue 4 is the end of this, I think it said 3 or 4, but I can't remember. I just want David Desmalchian to keep writing. I think he's got a really just a talent for it. This book has been great. It's just, I have one little tiny gripe. It happens twice, but there are 2 close-ups of some of the ladies' faces in the book that all of a sudden they look like guys. It happens at the end, and I think it happens right after she gets out of a meeting. It looks like a guy with a man bun, and then her face at the end. And other than that, I have no complaints about this book whatsoever. Those are 2 little bitty things, and I'm so looking forward to the next issue of this. Such a fun series.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, I'm looking forward to the crossover because I'm having co-written with Steve, it's an interesting process. So I'm really curious to see what he and David can do together.
Yeah. So. Like I said, if Dan, if you're excited about something, I'm excited because I know it'll be good. Okay. Now this next one, I knew exactly what I was getting into when I read what it was, and that is Mad Balls versus Garbage Pail Kids from Dynamite.
This is exactly what you think it is. And it's fun. It's awesome. If you are a fan of Mad Balls or Garbage Pail Kids, you're going to get exactly what you want.
Yeah.
It's the silly, over-the-top humor, and it's really well done.
Yeah.
It is not a book I ever expected to see, and the premise is pretty straightforward. You have your everyday average family, sort of, moving into a house that is between two other houses. One is where the Mad Balls live. The other is where the Garbage Pail Kids live. And they wonder why it was so cheap to move into the neighborhood. So.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. This was definitely just a gross, turn your brain to -5 and just enjoy it. There was a small issue I had, and it's not the comic's fault. There were some places where review copy was just dark enough to where it blended in with some of the speech bubbles.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not a knock on the comic. That's just what happened while I was reading it. This is just one of those things. You just sit down, you get yourself a big old bowl of member berries. You go through and you remember all this stuff when you were a kid. And, there's been a big resurgence in Garbage Pail Kids. I mean, I'm seeing vinyl figures and things like that everywhere. I'm like, of all things from the 80s, there's a strange thing to bring back, but, it was a fun story. Like, it's definitely nothing you want to take seriously. I mean, it's Garbage Pail Kids and Mad Balls. You can't be too serious about it. But it was fun.
And I was really impressed by how well it was drawn.
Mm-hmm.
The Garbage Pail Kids, even though it was on a comic page, looked like the Garbage Pail Kids from the cards.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Let's see. Now we have this was a good one. I really enjoyed this one. Young Hellboy, Assault on Castle Death, number 1 of 4 from Dark Horse Comics.
Yeah, I grabbed this one. There was 2 Hellboy books we could have grabbed today, and I grabbed this one because I really like when they do Young Hellboy. There's always something fun about it. I half expected him to have pancakes because that's what Young Hellboy has. But I like when Mike Mignola writes with Tom Snigoski. They do a really good story. And this is 1 of 4. We've been getting a lot of Hellboy one-shots lately. This is a 4-part series, so I knew we'd actually get some story, a little more depth. It was more than him just telling a fable. No. And this lives up to it. The art is great. The story, it's a really good setup. Mm-hmm. And we see, Professor Buttonholes. We get the older stuff that we only ever get in flashback. So I was really excited about this, and it lived up to exactly what I wanted on this book.
Yeah. And, I'm always intrigued by, secret orders and sleeper agents and being a fan of the Hellboy movies.
Yeah.
Being able to read the books, I've gone back and thought of some of the things we've read on here, and I haven't read a bad Hellboy book yet.
I don't think there's one exists.
Like, I enjoyed the story, and it's one of those, this might be a spicy take for some people. I believe that the 2019 movie is more closely related to how the comics are, because I can read the comics now after seeing that movie, mm-hmm. and David Harbour's Hellboy is who I hear and who I imagine in these stories. No offense to Ron Perlman, because he was great, but this is just, and same as you, I like the fact that I don't know I've read Hellboy comics, but I don't know a whole lot outside of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing things like this, where you have these flashbacks, and you get to see, maybe there's some Easter eggs and stuff that I wouldn't really know about, except for the ending panel. I know about that from the movie.
Right.
Man, just like I said, I'm just ready for more. Like, I can't wait till we get the next issue of this.
Yep, this was really good start. I liked it a lot. All right, let's go ahead and take a break, because without Kyle here, we actually have time to do a commercial break. So let's take that. We'll come back, but while we're gone, hit that like and subscribe button, all those things while we're gone, and we'll be right back.
Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out, twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code. There's a super new way to support your friends over at The Experience. Head over to YouTube and send us a super chat, a super sticker, or a super thanks. We'll be super grateful for your support, and then keep an eye out as we launch membership services over on YouTube. It'll be a great way to get first look access at new content and shows before anybody else. Keep your eyes peeled and make sure you're following us on YouTube. Who would win, Batman or Superman? It's the age-old debate, except it's so much more complicated than that. Nerd Killer Warfare every week on The Experience is your chance to debate other nerds in the questions we've all been asking for years, except we take those debates and turn them up to 11. Go to bit.ly/EXP casting or scan the QR code to be part of the show.
During the commercial breaks, I hop over to my other screen and I check the news and I do stuff like that until I hear the theme for my show. And then I know to come back. This is a different theme. So I almost missed it.
That's all right. I played your favorite commercial for you. I did that just for you. I know how much you love Nerd Killer Warfare.
Worst name ever. Oh, man.
The only thing that gets me about that commercial is music doesn't play till the end of it. So it's this weird silence with Kyle talking.
Yeah, it's like he's on the show.
All right, let's get to this next book. This is The Lonesome Hunters, #2 from Dark Horse.
You and I had the same reaction to this book the first time. Mm-hmm. And I made sure I included it because we had a lot of books this week. It could have been cut. But I included it because of the reaction we had, which was, we don't know what the hell's going on, but we want to know.
Yeah.
And my reaction after reading the second issue is, we still don't know what's going on. But I'm still curious to find out. I don't know what Tyler Crook is doing, but I love the art. The story is just bizarre, yet I keep reading because I don't know where the guy's got a sword in a cigar box. There's some kind of pocket watch. There are magpies. I don't know. It's really weird.
Wow. Like this one did feel a little more straightforward after it got past the first panel.
Uh-huh.
Wait a second, what is this? The first one we started out like 1900s, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
This one, it almost felt like we were in another dimension or something. I couldn't tell what was going on.
Yeah.
But I'm still interested. it still has my interest. Man, I thought it was a good second issue, and the mystery of it just has me hooked. It's like there are so many parts of me that's like I don't know if I should really like this book, but for some reason I do, and I want to stick around because I want to know more about Howard, the sword, the church and the big whatever that is, the literal big bad at the end of the book. Mm-hmm. I want to know more.
This needs to be a streaming service series.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of the Netflix drop them all at once. I prefer weekly because I think not only is it more fun because you get that time in between to theorize and stuff, but also because it's better for the show itself. It builds a word of mouth for the show. This one, I think you kind of need to binge watch because if not, you're going to be sitting here all week going, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. This is it's whatever Tyler is going for. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
For the folks out there, if you get a chance to read this book, read it so you can understand what we're going through over here. Because, I mean, it is like, I still don't know what's going on, but please give me more.
Yes. Yep. I really thought we were going to get some more stuff in this issue. It's like, no. Nope, not giving you nothing, but you're going to keep coming back.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to keep coming back.
That's right. Please start to add some more.
Yep.
Good book. Now, here's another one that I just... Robin Hood, the Children of Dr. Moreau, Zenescope. This is a team up, but it's not just a team up. It's a crossover with a movie. So it wasn't
now, for legal reasons. They're not crossing over the movie. They're crossing over with the novel.
The novel, okay. It just felt unnecessary. Like I'm like, you're already doing a Dr. Moreau in your book. Why don't you just do a Dr. Moreau story? Like you didn't need Robin or Red Agent in this. Like I mean, if you were going to do a Robin book, why don't you keep her in? She's based out of New York, isn't she? Is it New York she's based out of?
Yes.
Why don't you just keep her there and have her like hunting down the hybrids or something, and leave Red Agent out of it? There just feels like there was a big opportunity to do something awesome, and they missed the mark with it. At least for me.
I'll tell you, this felt like an early episode of Arrow that had a crossover character. Or Arsenal was suddenly in it too. But early, but when he didn't have the super cool outfit because she's not in her main outfit through most of the episode or issue. And it just felt like, again, kind of a filler thing. It's like, I don't know what they're doing with these anymore. I thought it was kind of cool at first because you get all these new number ones. They're easier to grab. But they're still continuing the stories. But then they take these weird side trips and stuff. So, hey, Jenna. So, bottom line is, if you're a Zenescope fan, you're going to get a Zenescope book. They're going to give you exactly what you're expecting. It's just the overall stories seem to be kind of meandering now through filler issues, which don't make sense in this format. So,
yeah, when I can get more enjoyment out of, Goat Man and Bunny Man and All Guts, No Glory.
Yeah.
All right. Now,
remember to hit that like and subscribe button.
Yes.
Especially if you don't want Kyle back, just keep hitting the like button.
Okay. Here's one that when we first started reading it, it surprised me, and it continues to surprise me. And that's Rick and Morty Infinity Hour, number 4 from Oni Press.
I've only watched a handful of Rick and Morty episodes, and that's because Lisa started making me watch them. And I watched part of the most recent series, but found them interesting. So when we started getting the Rick and Morty comics, I'm like, all right, I'll give this a shot. Where the hell are we going? You know?
Yeah.
And somehow this morphed into a Star Wars parody. And it's been great.
Yeah.
And it wraps up at the end, but you're not sure if it wraps up. It's got one of the greatest endings in the sense it gives you a little weird twist at the end and goes, well, we might be back to tell this story, or you might end up spending the rest of your life wondering exactly what's going to happen. I'm like, yep, that's Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
If you're a Rick and Morty fan, this book is right up your alley. If you've never gotten into Rick and Morty, this is actually a little easier to get into because the shows are just, like super quick. This is a slightly slowed down, but not so much that it's slow. It's just a little easier to grasp. So this has been a really fun little mini-series. Rick and Morty is the 80s version of Alf. Nice reference there. Nice, Lewis.
For me, just hilarious. Like, if this comic was the show, I'd probably watch it. I'm not a Rick and Morty fan at all, but you don't have to be a fan of it to like this book. This book is funny. The sight gags, the writing, everything about it. Like, I really wish the show was like this. Maybe Morty just gets on my nerves. I don't know.
Morty does complain a lot.
But, I also found it kind of funny that there's all these curse words being bleeped, but he gets one F-bomb. And then it goes right back to all the curse words are censored.
Because it's PG-13.
Yeah. But, again, great book. I really hope that that's not just a tease of, we're really not going to do anything. I really hope you keep up with this. I really want another, for now you can leave Morty out of it. I can just take the Rick part of it.
Yeah.
But,
it has just been Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did like the one scene where the bad guy gets his I don't want to say lightsaber, his laser sword stuck in the wall. And Rick's like, stuck, aren't you? No. Stuck.
All right. Yeah. Great book. Check it out. Even if you don't like Rick and Morty, check it out.
Yeah. Ren and Stimpy. Ren and Stimpy is one of those shows. Yeah, Ren.
Glad I wouldn't drink anything this time.
Yeah, I have weird things that I can imitate.
Nothing wrong with that. All right, now here's another book that when we first started reading it, I probably wasn't as into it as maybe you or Kyle were. The Rocketeer, The Great Race, #4 from IDW.
So love this book. Stephen Mooney, Len O'Grady, they get it. They get what Dave, shit.
Is it Stevens?
Yeah, Dave Stevens created. God, I feel bad about forgetting his name for a minute. They get what made the Rocketeer great. It's like watching the movie with Bill Campbell. It's just so much fun. It's that vibe. It's that feel. A little bit accidental hero, but heart of gold, really wants to do things right. And just how accidentally gets, saves the day so often. Yeah. But, is willing to die if he has to do what's right. And this book just gets that aces. There's a great, I don't want to say it's an interview, but it's like the telling of the story about trying to get Dave to do more Rocketeer, his passing. And it's got so many different people chiming in. And one of the people talking is another friend of mine, Tom. Shoot, I'm forgetting everybody's name today, and he's a friend. Tom Jane. I've known Tom for a few years now, since I had to lead him through San Diego Con for IDW once. Tom was really good friends with Dave Stevens, and they talk about that. And I know his passing was rough for a lot of people, but Tom is one of them. And it's really neat to read the story of them all wanting, trying to move forward with Dave and stuff, and then his passing and how he wasn't able to do much in the last couple of years. So it's more than just a story. This is really a tribute to Dave Stevens, and they do such a good job with it, and they tell a truly Dave Stevens story, and the art and everything about it, and the ending seems like where Dave probably would have taken it eventually anyway. So I really, really loved this. I thought it was great.
Like, the thing was, it's not that I didn't like it, but I had never really read a Rocketeer comic before. I liked the first issue.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the second issue a little more, and then the third issue a lot more, and then this issue. I'm so glad I stuck with this one. I'm so glad that we ended up getting all of this to read. I'm curious now to go out and read more Rocketeer stuff. And for me, I think if a story can do that for you, if you can read somebody else's take on a character, and that makes you want to go back and read other people's takes on the character, I think that speaks very highly of the story that was told to you, or the story that you read. Man, I like how it ended. I still have that hope that maybe I always forget the mechanic's name. Is it Peavy?
Peavy, yes.
Yes. I have high hopes he can fix the pack.
He always does. That's part of the thing. Yeah. And by the way, guys, if you haven't seen the Rocketeer movie, it's on Disney Plus. You probably already have the subscription because you're watching all the Marvel and Star Wars shows. Watch the frickin' Rocketeer. Yeah. It is fantastic. Watch it with your family. Grab your kids, sit down and watch it. It is just really, really good.
It's a movie that still holds up too.
And it's Joe Johnston. It's directed by the guy that directed Captain America: The First Avenger. It's just really good. So, yeah, and grab there's a lot of reprint stuff of the original Dave Stevens material. It is worth tracking down. This is a character that is so tied to its creator, but is just so much fun and just brilliant. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm glad that's one of, like I said before, that's one of the benefits that I see to being on this show with y'all is I get to read stuff I wouldn't normally read. And, I probably wouldn't have picked this up on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad I got to read it. So glad.
Yeah. You're being kind of forced my taste. because,
You got good taste, Dan.
Well, thank you.
Good taste.
Yeah.
Now, here comes a book that surprised me, and that is Samurai Sonia. This is number 2 from Dynamite. Now,
yeah.
I've had my issues with the other 3. Some of them did get a little better for me. I'm still not all that wild about Red Sitha. But I think that if you just had 2, and I believe it's the one with the cursed chainmail and the sword, and this one, I'd be fine. I'd never have to read the other 2. But for me, the way the art tells the story in this, because it's not very vocabulary heavy in this issue.
Yeah,
she's traveling by herself, and that doesn't work for a lot of books. But for me, it does for this one. I feel the interaction she was having, I couldn't tell if, is that real? Is it just self-doubt? But the ending of that conflict was super satisfying. I really enjoyed that. Like, I can't wait to see where they go with this one.
Yeah.
And of the 4 Red Sonia stories, this one's my favorite.
I'm a little surprised. I hadn't seen. I didn't realize the cover.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that doesn't look like the large monkey that's in the comic, but okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of funny on this one. I really enjoyed it, but it doesn't feel like I feel like they could have named this anything, and it would be a good book.
Probably.
I almost feel like the Sonia part of it is a disservice because it gets you in the mindset for one thing, and this is something different, and it's really good. But on its own, it's a really good story. I don't think it needs the Sonia moniker.
1000% agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I just think they could have just called it Samurai, honestly.
Yep.
All right. Now we're going to get to
our final book.
Maybe my least favorite. Pretty close.
Interesting that you saved it for the end.
Yeah. This is Dark Spaces, Wildfire #1 from IDW.
Yes.
I'll go ahead and I'll start this one.
Okay.
First and foremost, I am not a fan of the color palette, and I wasn't a big fan of the art. The story does make up for it to me, but at the same time, I kind of wish it was just, I don't know why, I kind of wish it was just a firefighter story. Like, you could have kept the element of these ladies of who they are, but like trying to add a heist or thinking about doing something like that, I don't know. I think it might have been a little more interesting if it was just them fighting a wildfire. But, I'm going to be very contradictory on this, though. But, unless these writers pull off the biggest what of all time, they pretty much tell you at the end of this book what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they do something.
But it's Scott Snyder, so the odds are he's got something in his mind,
And I think that's why I enjoyed the story, because I'm a big fan of Scott Snyder's writing.
Yeah.
So,
I find the premise interesting because, like they do use a lot of inmates on fire things. So setting up a heist in the middle of a fire is a premise I could see a writer. To me, it reminds me, I'm going to go back to Steve Niles. It reminds me of when Steve had 30 Days a Night come out. Little town in Alaska that, has 30 days that the sun doesn't rise. We did a vampire story there. And I think just about every writer out there went, I was going to do that story. Because it's one of those that just about everybody has their version of. And Steve just got to it first. It feels kind of like the same thing. When you hear, oh, they use inmates for firefighters, you're thinking, well, and everybody's out of their homes. And so the premise, I think, is an interesting premise, but there's a lot of talking in this book. And it does have it's in the middle of a firestorm, so the palette is kind of fire, but I think it didn't live up to its premise, at least in the first issue. And the fact that it's called Dark Spaces Wildfire, I don't know. Is there like a Dark Spaces something else? Has there been a Dark Spaces series before? I don't know. Jenna says they actually do let inmates volunteer in California for the wildfires. Yeah, I'm aware of that. I actually, one of my brother's childhood friends has been in and out of prison, and every time ends up on the fire team. So.
Funny thing was until Liam was talking about it on Miss Jen's The Minute to Skim It, I didn't know that was a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds crazy to me. But yeah, I mean, I'll definitely give it another chance. It's very, very seldom that I read one issue of something and I'm like, it's got to be super terrible for me to do that.
Right.
But like I said, Scott Snyder is an amazing writer, so I just have to trust his process and see where he takes it.
Yeah, I have a feeling that it'll definitely start twisting after issue 2, or during issue 2. We'll start flipping around, but apparently this is going to be an anthology series. Okay, so this is the first of an anthology series. Thank you. Yeah, that's the part I didn't get, because I didn't see any hype for this book. It was just on the server, so it's like, oh, okay. Well, it's a number 1. Let's take a look at it. And yeah, IDW is kind of tough for me which books to pull, because a lot of their books are so deep in. Turtles at like 130. Some of the Transformers and GI Joe are so deep that, and if you don't have the backstory, it's hard to tell. So when they do something like Rocketeer or this, it's like, hey, we can get on the ground floor. Great. So.
But, all in all, that was a pretty interesting mix of books this week. Like I said, there was some misses, but, that's just my opinion. Somebody else could find these books and be like, these were the greatest things I've ever read. Yeah.
And keep in mind, these are the books that we get access to, that we get a chance to read before and review. There are some other amazing books out there coming out this week that we didn't get a chance to read or we didn't get access to. And I was trying to pull up the list and it doesn't seem to want to come up. But, okay, I was just going to give you a couple highlights. You got another Darth Vader comic coming out. There's more Moon Knight, Black, White, and Red, which has been great. She-Hulk number 5 is out this week with She-Hulk series coming up. There's an Aliens annual. Dark Crisis continues. There's the Han Solo and Chewbacca story. There's a new Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings number 1. Black Adam is going great. There's Bloodstained Teeth. There's a lot of good. Artemis Wanted number 1 comes out. Artist Elite's first book comes out. Nottingham 9. Let's see. Kyle usually gets us some Mad Cave books. Mm-hmm. So, no Kyle, no Mad Cave.
I know.
Yeah, but there's a lot of really good books coming out. Just skimming through, seeing any others. And like I said, there's 2 Hellboy books this week. There's Nyx number 8. There's Jennifer Blood number 10. And, so those are, good Dynamite books to pick up. New Heavy Metal number 318 is out. If you're a heavy metal fan, there's just a ton of really good books out this week, and we can only do a certain number. Yeah. New Manor Black number 4. Yeah, the Artist Elite Presents number 1 is out. That's a whole new company to check out. Canary number 1 from Comixology. Surprised I didn't have that one on the list. They usually send me stuff. I must have missed it. So, but yeah, again, just a ton of really good books. So go to your comic shops, check it out. There's an Archie Christmas special out this week. Oh, Christmas in July. I love that. But so go to your local comic shops. And if you don't know where your local comic shop is, or if you're traveling, check out the comic shop locator. It's comicshoplocator.com. You go there, you put in your zip code, and it tells you the comic shops near you. If you're traveling, put in the zip code of where you're going to be and get the list of the books or of the stores where you're going to. And, check out some of these great stores across the country. Go in, buy something, and, pick up some great new stuff. Try things out. Experiment.
Yeah, no, a lot of these stores have their own exclusives that you're not going to get anywhere else. I mean, I've ordered stuff from comic shops that are in Arizona, ones in Alabama, I think, just to get the exclusive covers. So I mean, if you're going to be in that area anyway, save on the shipping.
Exactly. And like I said, there's some great comic shops out there. I mean, just Miss Jen's shop in Texas.
Yeah.
Or who's the other guys we get on Friday night?
Rex and John?
No, there's another store.
On Friday, that's oh my goodness, that's Nancy. I know it's Nancy.
Oh no, that's Comics Unlimited in Tennessee.
There you go.
But there's also another group we have.
Fat Jack's Comic Crypt?
Fat Jack's Comic Crypt.
Okay.
Check them out. Jesse James Comics in Arizona. There's some great comic shops out here in LA. I mean, Earth 2. There's Golden Apple, but the Comics Factory in Pasadena, Comic Madness in Chino. There are a lot of really great comic shops, small to big. When I went to San Luis Obispo last year, I found the local comic shop in that area by going to the comic shop locator. So find your local stores, go in, pick up some books, and have some fun. Comics are fun. Yeah. They bring joy to our life rather than the news.
Most of them bring joy. There's some of them that just make you sad.
Yeah, Alice Ever After doesn't bring joy. It doesn't. Sorry, Dan. Yeah. It's a great looking book, but oh my God, it's depressing. Yeah. Your book could depress a hyena. By the way, that is the worst imitation from a really vague movie, 1776. Oh. That's like for 3 people out there. My 4th of July tradition, and it's been my tradition for a long time, is to watch the musical 1776 that stars William Daniels, who was the voice of Kit on Knight Rider, or was the teacher on
Boy Meets World?
Meets World, yeah.
Okay.
He plays John Adams. Ken Howard, who was the White Shadow and was the head of the Screen Actors Guild for a long time, is Thomas Jefferson. It's got this great cast of people. If you watched Northern Exposure when that was on, the bartender on that show plays Ned from South Carolina. And it's got a lot of great music, but it's such an interesting take on the signing of the Declaration of Independence and all the BS that goes through it. But I always watch it on the 4th of July. And it is just fun. There's some great songs. And there's a lot of really good humor. There's one moment in it where they find out that this town of New Brunswick has been overrun by prostitutes. And a outbreak of what they call the French disease. And they decide John Adams is going to take this one guy up there from the war committee to try to get him to see that the army is actually can fight. And he turns around and they say, to Ben Franklin, who's this older guy, said, Franklin, come on, we're going to New Brunswick. He's like, why would I want to go there? And this other guy leans in and goes, for the drinking and the whoring. Franklin's up and just following out the door. And there's a lot of great humor in it like that. So it's one of my traditions, but it's another movie I highly recommend.
Is there a place you can watch that?
I have it on DVD. That's how much I watch it. Let's see. I'm not sure if any of the streamers have it right now. Helps if I put in the right ad number. 1176 doesn't get it.
Oh, wow.
Let's see, 76 movie. Roku, Amazon Prime is supposed to have it.
I have to check that out. I like musicals.
Yeah. I like to watch that, and then now I added the Hamilton musical.
Yeah.
So I like to mess with my nephew every once in a while. I'll walk to the house going, da 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 da.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I'll sing that sometimes too, and it just gets him. Though now I've been doing the X-Men 97 theme. So he doesn't know which one's coming. Yeah, you guys get me a couple days a week. Could you imagine living in the same house?
I think that'd be awesome. That's just me, though.
All right, guys. I think we're good. We're going to wrap that up. Please remember, hit that like and subscribe button. And tune in tomorrow. We got great shows. We're going to be doing the Dan Wickline show at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, where I'm going to talk some more about the just dropped episode of Only Murders in the Building. What else do we do on Wednesday? That's not What's in the Box Day. Kyle's going to do more of the news, the latest press releases and stuff.
Comic collectibles.
Comic collectibles with Rex and John. And I can actually give you a hint. Some of the books they've got tomorrow include Ken Hazer's commissioned art covers. He's got 2 Civil War books that one is Iron Man and one is Captain America. They're kind of faced off. Both of those are going to be up. They look awesome. There is a signed Superman Reborn from Action Comics by Dan Jurgens. There's a Spider-Man book signed by Nick Spencer, Amazing Spider-Man 38. So that's just 4 books that they're going to have tomorrow. So definitely tune in for that. So it'll be my show. It'll be Comics Collectibles with Rex and John and whatever we do after that. But Kyle will pop on, do his update. And that's what we got tomorrow. So definitely stick around. Everyone have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, everybody.
Join the party. Head over to our Linktree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.